This week shook a lot of people. Bitcoin is dropping, the stocks are sliding, and momentum is basically disappearing. And suddenly, a lot of plans, a lot of confidence are cracking. But moments like this reveal something important. It's that your approach matters far more than the market. And there are three simple principles that I follow that stop weeks like that from ever turning into a crisis. The first one being stop tying your life plans to a market move. The second one, know when to step out, even when you're expecting more. And third, always risk less than you think. In today's video, I'll show you what I expect next for the markets without the drama. And I'll walk you through as well one of my cleanest trade, a 10x setup, showing exactly how I managed the trade, the risk, and the exit, the part that most people miss. Don't forget to subscribe for more insight like this. Let's dive in. Analysis of Bitcoin. Bitcoin just broke a key level for me. As we saw in the previous weeks, we were in this very nice and handy upward channel, and we were just at the boundary last week, right? And what we were saying is that, this is a really critical level. We'd love to see a rebound and see a consolidation heading back towards this resistance line over there. Or the second scenario was, are we going to break through and drop further? And we got the second one, right? So that means that now we have a warning sign on cryptocurrencies and on Bitcoin first, right? We have a warning sign. We have an important level there around 78,000, right? So there may be a chance, if I move this a little bit, you see, there may be a chance that the price is going to consolidate and head back up, which would keep our bullish scenario. But right now, for me, right, warning sign, definitely a more, we are in a range, moderate approach, and we don't know basically if that's going to be the scenario we're going to get. So are we going to stop there around this line, or is Bitcoin going to head lower around the previous all-time high and consolidate over there? And the worst case would be that we basically consolidate and we break down. In that case, that would be a bear market and party is over. So right now, basically warning, we'll have to monitor what happens over the next few weeks to see which scenario is going to be. Analysis of the Ethereum. So Ethereum, last week we drew this support there where we had a couple weeks and 2 weeks that just stopped there on this level around 3,000. Well, this completely broke through last week, right? So we are in this area there where you can see there's been a lot of support and resistance since 2024. So it's holding at the moment. So that scenario there is not going to happen anymore. So a bit similar to Bitcoin, right? Are we going to see something that is going to range and maybe head back to the upside, or are we going to see something that is going to break down, right? And definitely a break to the south around here would be bearish for Ethereum, right? We still have a bit of support here and there, but it's not looking the best at the moment, so we will see over the next few weeks. Analysis of the XRP. So XRP actually broke a little bit our little consolidation flag there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to redraw that, right? So here we went a little bit deeper, so we could draw something parallel just like that. And well, the scenario right here, we are still intact, right? So yes, Bitcoin and Ethereum took a bit of a hit. However, we are heading down the bottom of this range there, and what we would love to see, some oscillation, and maybe later next year a break to the upside. So we are still in this large triangle over there. We had the break, the first leg of the move, breaking out of that triangle, and now we have this tight consolidation there. So right now the scenario is still valid. We are still in a consolidation and still bullish on the XRP. Analysis of the SP 500. So another week of decline here, and yeah, we broke we broke out of our channel, right? So that just tells me that we are now entering a range section for me, right? So I'm going to modify my risk management. I'm going to be less aggressive on opportunities that I'm going to trade, and we're going to see basically how deep this correction is going to go, right? So yeah, it's a fourth week in a row, fourth red week in a row. However, I mean, look at the scale of the move, right? So we are very much still in a bull market. We are just, correcting now. We are taking a pause. So there's no, warning sign. There's nothing telling us, hey, party is over, like on Bitcoin where we have warning sign. Here, not at all. What we might see is something consolidating such as that and breaking to the upside. We will see. It could also head lower, but right now our scenario, bullish scenario, is still intact. Analysis of the NASDAQ, very similar story here. We just went a little bit deeper. So we have another level also right there. So to be seen, right, how deep basically NASDAQ is going to drop. But it's likely we are going to consider it like this. That's my first scenario. Not likely. I don't have a crystal ball, but I would say I still have a bullish bias. So right now, there's all the reason to think that we are going to have a correction. Maybe it's going to last a few months and eventually going back to the upside. So that's my first scenario, my first bias on the American indices. All right, the CAC 40, the French index. So in the past few weeks, we did have a break. I mean, look at this, right? We had something that really bounced quite a few times off this line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 8 times, right? And we had a break, so that's a very strong signal. We had a break to the upside, went up, went back down, tried to go back up, so pull back and trend resumption. Didn't work out, we came back, but we held above the level, right? You can see that we have rejection, we held above that level. So, there's a chance that maybe we're gonna head back to the upside soon. Maybe we're gonna consolidate a little bit more. Time will tell. But overall, the fact that we held that level is very positive. And yeah, we definitely can say we are still bullish on the French index as well. All right, moving on to the DAX. So DAX is holding really, really well his level. Yeah, we had another week of decline, quite a bit stronger this time. However, we are still really, really holding that level in this tight consolidation, and I love to see that. So again, still optimistic for the DAX. We might see price that would head back to the upper side of the range, and maybe in the next few months, right, we would get the go signal for a bull market on the DAX. So it's going to depend, of course, if it breaks to the upside or if we're going to break to the downside. So to be seen. Analysis of gold. So another week of pause for gold, right? So our scenario is intact. Yes, some indices and cryptocurrencies took a hit, but our gold trend is still intact, right? I mean, we have another doji here, second week in a row. It's a pause, right? So yeah, it is possible that we are just consolidating there, building another staircase before heading back higher. So right now there's nothing telling us otherwise. The only thing that we can note is you can see the rate at which gold has just been going, right, since like 2019. So it's like parabolic, right? An exponential curve. So that tells us that we may very well see gold, heading to new heights very fast, very sharply in the next month, next year. And if that's the case, we really want to watch out for opportunities like that to take position. And if we are already exposed, We want to have a plan to follow the trend and to capitalize however that might look, right? Either we are building a staircase steady like that, or a bit like that if we have some kind of like climax run. We want to have a strategy to take profit accordingly to whichever scenario we're in. Moving on to the dollar index. So the dollar index, I mean, as we said a few weeks ago, we had a breakout, pullback, and another very strong week here, right? So we are just about this level. We were saying last week, maybe we're going to see something consolidating a bit longer. Well, turns out that this week was definitely a positive, a strong week. And that tells us that maybe we're going to see a break. And as we said before, if we look at the previous amplitude for the dollar index, right, that I just copied over there, basically the price did such a move there of that amplitude in the past. So, you know, it's possible that it does it again. So I just, as a potential target area, we have potential 20% appreciation, right, from the bottom there of that like double bottom. So we will see. We will see. And should the dollar gain some strength, that might coincide with the European indices, which are about to break maybe to the upside. So we might see a flow of money, USD capital that's flowing into the market as well. So we will see. And now I would like to show you one of the cleanest trade, one of the best trade that I ever got, basically. This was from early 2024. And we have a just beautiful consolidation pattern on a weekly time frame on super micro, right? So at that time, I mean, that move, basically, you can see, right, the power of that move, right, to the upside. This coincided with actually also NVDA breaking to the upside. It was the microchip AI kind of boom of early 2024. And I don't look at that news or necessarily industry vertical strength, right, to trade. I'm just looking at what the charts are telling me. But it just so happened that that trade happened at the same time that sector was booming. So that was an amazing trade. And I love to see that, right? So there's a few things that I look for when I trade, right? This is for me like really a plus setup. I mean, it's really pretty. This is in a weekly time frame, so you can see basically how long and how tight this consolidation was, right? So there's 6 things that I look for when I want to trade stocks. The first one is I want to see a strong momentum, right? So if we zoom in a little bit, you can see basically how these stocks just kept going, right? We have a strong momentum, and that's what I want to trade. I want to trade stocks that are doing well. I want to trade stocks that are strong. So we definitely have that here. The second thing that I want is I want a clean consolidation pattern. So usually I go for, a cup and handle or really like tight base, tight consolidation. And we have that here very much. I mean, look at this. This was just pretty. We had a drop from the high here and we had just like boom, 1 time, twice, 3, 4, and break, right? So that was like really pretty, right? When I see that, I just stop when I'm doing my screening. The other cue that you have is the Bollinger bonds, right? The Bollinger bonds are just, horizontal, very tight, even pinching at the end, right? When I see this, I stop immediately. I'm like, wow, we might be onto something there. So we definitely have that here for that trade. The third one that I'm looking for is an obvious resistance line. So yes, we want strong momentum, we want a clean, tight consolidation, but we want that to be really under a very clear resistance area, right? I want the price to bounce, as I said before, to bounce back and forth in a tight manner around that line. So we had a couple excess here and there on that pattern. However, we can see that price really held really well, right? Really, really well. So I want to see that this might not be absolute perfection there, but it's still really, really qualitative. It's a high quality setup, right? So I love that. I want to see that. So that's the third point, and yeah, we definitely have that here. Number 4 is toward the end of the consolidation, right? Right before the breakout. So in that area here, I want to see a reduction in volatility. I want to see, I already want to see basically a tight consolidation, right? And toward the end, I want to see the price that are getting tighter and tighter, really like stuck, blocked under my resistance line with a contraction of volatility. And it's like, you know, it's cooking, right? It's cooking, it's getting tighter, it's getting ready to burst. So I want to see that on the patterns I trade, and the tighter is going to be the higher the contrast between the first part of the pattern, the best the opportunity, the most explosive. And here we had something really tight, right? You can see how here we had amplitudes like this, right? About the same there, and then look, one reduction, one little hole there, bottom, another one there. So you can see the trend, right? This is basically, we had a strong move up, we dropped, and then we consolidated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. We are bouncing off this level, and toward the end, we are getting closer and closer, and it's getting really tight. Like this thing wants to burst. That's what you want to look for. You want to look for things like that. So do we have that here? Absolutely, right? We absolutely have that here. Number 5, I want a clean breakout. I want a breakout that's going to close clearly above my resistance line, that is not going to be too shy, also not too big. If my breakout would have been, say, over there, I mean, it would be way too far above my key level, right? But this, we had a beautiful breakout. Beautiful. So we definitely have that here. You might want to use as well a smaller time frame, a lower time frame, in order to time a little bit better your entry, but that could very well work as well, right? So here, so again, we are on the weekly time frame. The green line here is my entry. This is where I entered that trade, and the red line there was my stop, right? So that's basically, that's what I call my R, that's my unit of risk, right? And I'm gonna use units of risk to monitor my trade, to manage my trade. And depending on how fast price is gonna basically go, how fast or how low or how much is gonna go or drop, I am going to manage my trade accordingly. One final thing that I want to look for is I want a clear increase in volume on the breakout. And that's what we have here, right? Right there. We can see that there on this candle, the volume started to ramp up, right? Compared to the average in blue, broke. So increase in volume, you can see here reduction in this like tight range consolidation. The volume dried out. Basically, yeah, everybody was hanging on to their stock. The volume dried out, and then when we had the break, boom, we break the key level very clearly, right? We very clearly break this. It's like, this is a multi-month consolidation. We break it, powerful break, clean, and an increase in volume. That's what I want to see. And here it was super obvious, super clear, amazing. So I would take position like this, such as this, right? Entry, stop, and I would follow along. So let's see how far this went. So I exited that trade at 90.2, right? So that's a 10x, you see, right? That's a 10x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10x on my initial bet size. So, I mean, there are many ways to go about that, right? As I said, you're going to want to have a strategy that is adaptive based on how fast basically markets are ramping up. Based on the rate at which the price is going up, you're going to want to manage your trade and exit your trade accordingly. So there are a few case scenarios, right? One of them could be if we zoom back here, right? We can see that price was building a staircase, right? Step, a step, a step, a step, and then boom, explosion. So now we have kind of a climax run, right? So you need to have a way to manage your trade, maybe trade your stop when you have such slower, steady scenario, and also when you're going to have an explosion climax run, because you're never going to be able to time the top, right? Or maybe sometime you're going to luck out, but you need, basically, we don't know how far a trend is going to go, right? That's the principle of a trend. We don't know how far, how fast it's going to go. So we need to have a way to stick with it and to squeeze as much as we can out of it in a systematic way, right? I do not rely on judgment to manage my trade. I just have a very precise plan. It's mechanical. If A, then B. If C, then D. This is what I do. And following that plan here allowed me to really stick with the trade as long as possible and to exit right over there. So you could tell me, oh yeah, but you know, I mean, price went as high as like 107 and then even 123. Yes, that's true, but I don't know that in advance, right? When I'm trading, I mean, this is all I see, right? I just see these last few candles and that's all. So I need to make a decision based on that. It's always easy in hindsight to tell yourself, oh, you know, you could have just held the trade until there and exit there. It's very easy to say that, but when you don't see the right side of the chart, this is another story. So this is where I exited following this really powerful burst of like multi-week, right? And I mean, that's pretty good, right? Yes, we are not all the way up, but we literally got 2/3 of the trade, right? We went almost to 1 to 16 based on my risk size there. 1 to 16, right? Right over there. Right over there. And we went to 10. So we got 2/3 out of that. And that's really good. I mean, look how far this dropped right after, right? There, that's a drop. So, you know, it's in hindsight to say, yeah, you could have held it and exit there. But no, I don't know that, right? Look, from here, from this top, we dropped all the way there, right? That's a huge drop. That's like 50%, right, of my trade. I am not going to let the price do that. So you need to have a way. And then we bounce back. And then we dropped. And we dropped a lot, right? So, I mean, if you look at that, it's not such a bad exit, right? Because, yeah, we didn't get all the way up, but we got a big part of the meat. And look how far it dropped back after that, right? And we never came back there. So this is how I operate. These are the things that I look for. This is what I love to trade. Yeah, so, you know, if you'd like to learn more about this, you know, feel free to subscribe, drop your mail on my website as well, where I'm planning to release some strategies and some tips about what I do. Other than that, that's it. That's what I do. That's what I love to trade. So, you know, if you spot things like that in your trading as well, that's the way to go about it, right? And that's all. That's all for today. So thanks for watching the video and see you soon.